The Pandemic's Effects on Attitudes Towards Parenthood, presented by Shania Wiley. Public health emergencies as a result of COVID-19 have had effects on the health, safety, and well-being of both individuals, causing, for example, insecurity, confusion, emotional isolation, stigma, and in some cases mental illness, as well as communities, owing to economic loss, work and school closures, inadequate resources for medical response, and deficient distribution of necessities. The number of births declined for all U.S. states in the second half of 2020, compared with declines for only 20 states in the first half of 2020 and 9 states in the second half of 2019. The scales in this study were adapted from Micelli et al. And Soderberg et al., who conducted previous research on parental attitudes in different countries such as Italy and Sweden. What they found was that parental efforts were not deterred by COVID impacts. Participants were recruited to complete the survey through 3 different approaches. The recruitment approach, which received the most responses, was an email invitation sent to all students and staff of a Midwestern university. The remaining participant responses were recruited through the Social Psychology Research Network and the student researcher posts to their social media accounts. The latter 2 recruitment approaches were implemented in order to obtain a sample more representative of the entire study population rather than only the college population. In order to be eligible for participation, participants had to be 18 or older. They also needed to be able to read and write in English, possess no children, and respond to most related survey questions. 283 participants responded to the survey, and 137 responses were used for the current analysis. The following table depicts the demographic characteristics of survey respondents as it pertains to parental status, in which 100% of participants had to have no children, COVID contraction, whether or not the participant had COVID or not before, gender, felt the need for mental health services, and mean age at 26.47 years with a standard deviation of 10.49. Age of ideal parenthood was measured by item 21 of the survey. The question asked the participants to identify the age range they believe is best/most ideal to conceive their first child. The age ranges began with 18 to 25, then ascended in size by 4 years until 41 to 46 and 46 or beyond. Fertility and childbearing were assessed by item 22 of the survey, adapted from Soderberg et al., on a 5-point Likert scale, with 1 equaling strongly disagree to 5 equaling strongly agree. For example, whether they agreed or disagreed with the statement that having a child is an essential part of life, or having children would develop them as a person. Item 41 of the survey addressed social and home life impairment. A 9-point scale was used in order to represent participants ranging from no impairment at all the way to very severely impaired. One of the statements from this item states, "Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, my social and leisure activities with other people are impaired, e.g. parties, clubbings, outings, and dating." The participants accessed the survey through a link either via email, social media, or the Social Psychology Research Network. After opening the link, the participants read a study description with information describing the purpose, tasks, and risks involved with the study survey. They then consented to participate voluntarily with the option to withdraw from the survey at any time. After consent, participants were to attempt to complete a 25-page questionnaire that included questions related to topics such as demographics, parental status and interests, student experiences, physical health, responses to COVID, interactions with others, and mental health along with individual difference variables. With the completion of the survey, the participants were thanked for their contributions and read a debriefing of the survey study with additional details regarding the purpose. The total participation time averaged about 18 minutes. Table 2 depicts the means, standard deviations, and correlations between ideal parenting age, change in desire, parental desire, age of participants, home life impairment, and social impairment. Parental desire had a significant negative relationship with ideal parenting range, meaning that as parental desire went down, the ideal parenting age range went up. Yet another significant negative relationship was displayed between parental desire and participant age, meaning that as parental desire went down, participant ages tended to be higher. There were also significant positive relationships between parental desire for conceiving children and both home life impairment and social impairment, meaning that as home life and social impairment increase, so too does the parental desire for conceiving children. It was first hypothesized that COVID would negatively affect parental desire and birth rates. This research revealed that those who experienced greater amount of COVID-related impairment in terms of social and home life tended to report greater change in desire for parenting since the start of the pandemic. Contrary to the hypothesis, however, no relationship was observed between COVID-related impairments and parental desire itself. Also, participants who were older and felt that older ages were ideal for starting parenthood reported lower levels of desire to begin parenthood. The study conducted by Micelli et al. Confirms the result of this study, as most participants proceeded with their parenthood efforts even in the pandemic. These findings are essential because it demonstrated that in times when resources are scarce, people are instead more likely to continue with their efforts instead of less likely. Future studies might investigate why this phenomenon occurs, and if it occurs consciously or subconsciously in the participants' minds, what factors influence this behavior. Strengths of this study include obtaining a large enough sample size to be able to conduct analysis. Recruitment methods other than school email provided a more representative sample instead of just being representative of the college population. Weaknesses included change in parenting interest being assessed overall, but not if this change was an increase or a decrease. Utilizing a convenient sample and requesting volunteers, which left a lot of questions unanswered because they could opt out at any time. In conclusion, this study has demonstrated that COVID has not reduced parental attitudes, which suggests that the birth rates will remain similar despite the pandemic. Researchers should also continue to assess parental attitudes to better understand contributing factors to increase in births when in times of scarce resources. Thank you for viewing, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Student Research Conference.